What is up, guys, and welcome back to another brand new video. Today we're here for episode number 13 of the Russian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last episode, feel free to go and watch that before you watch this, although I'd highly recommend that you don't. Even though the link will be in the description below for the previous episode, I'd highly recommend that you don't, because you can easily tell by just looking at the title. Anyway, going into this weekend, we are expecting 4 upgrades to go on the card, there being 2 DRS upgrades, the engine power upgrade and the energy store upgrade, which failed in the last episode. Didn't even remember what upgrade I did, but of course I'll just go back and look at it again. So they're the 2 upgrades that are going to get on the car. We have a strategic department event that we are looking at. Sponsors deciding to invest more in our team. We're sure that we're not the only department to dip the purse, so apparently we get a discount for the engine cover, and that's exactly what we're going to do. As you can see, a long list there, so we're going to go straight into that. That's one of the DRS upgrades that got on the car. Yeah, the brake dust, and I think that those 2 DRS upgrades are free. So I think oh no, that was just a drag reduction upgrade. Hang on, I got confused there for a second. Anyway, so I think, what was that? Oh, the chassis department upgrade. Now that's the one I remember. We're going to do a tyre wear upgrade, which will go in time for Japan, I believe. Japan's actually a good place to do a tyre wear upgrade. So we had the DRS upgrade go in the car. I think it was the engine power and energy store is in the next day and 2, and there is the DRS upgrade. Yeah, even though those upgrades didn't get on the car for Monza, it's still good to have them on the car for Russia, because I highly rate Russia as a good DRS track, as you got the long and front straight. So according to the performance index, we have now re-overtaken Haas, so we are no longer the worst car in the field. We're the 10th fastest car, or literally the 2nd slowest car in the field. But we're off the bottom. We've made progress, but not enough to not even be a foot in front of Haas. So going into this weekend, I'm feeling sort of confident about this weekend, because I generally do okay around here. Now, I've had a question marks from someone saying, well, how do you always perfect the practice progress? Well, as you can look at the track acclimatization, not necessarily perfect absolutely everywhere, but if you see, when you see that I get $600 resource points, it's because I do quick practice. It may use the wear or the engine, but at least I get them done to get literally the maximum amount of resource points. And we're getting to the pointy end of the season where we're going to have to start saving on resource points, because when we get to the pointy end, we've got the reg changes to come. Certain parts in certain departments are going to be at risk of not being on the car. So if we can rectify those, then we should be okay heading into season 2, and just pray that some of the bigger teams, or the teams in front of us, don't have necessarily a good weekend. That is pretty much the only thing we can hope for. So nearly 1,600 resource points to spend. We could do a rear downforce upgrade, which would go on for Mexico. However, I don't really think that's necessary, even though the rear still feels a little unstable. I would have actually preferred a rear downforce for Kota. We can't rush any of the upgrades yet. I don't know if that's department wise. I think that is. I think we have to still upgrade the facilities if we want to have any chance of rushing these upgrades on. So just flicking through, I think we ended up doing what was that? Was this a front downforce, or maybe a fuel efficiency upgrade? Fuel efficiency and ERS is probably one that I've been focusing on quite a bit, or been thinking about a lot in season 1. So I think we're actually going to go for the rear downforce, which will go on for Mexico, hopefully. So I think that's all the upgrades done. Let's go to qualifying. Hopefully get as close to Q2 or into Q2 as possible. So here we go then for qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix. Kind of expecting some good things here to come through. I think the car can really stick to the track if we really stitch a lap together. I think we're a chance of getting into Q2, especially through the middle part of the lap, through all the high speed turns. I feel like I'm really strong through there, and I really hit the apex very well when I really get it right. Into the last sector now. Don't quite make this 100% of the time. When I say that, I mean like I don't hit it right every single time. Into the last couple of corners, gotta stay as wide as you can. Don't use too much of the curve. You want to get that just right, and we go P18 with a 32.5. We go again into turn number 1. Not the easiest section to get right here, turn 1. You really have to now use the first apex really well and really get the car just far enough for it not to hit the sausage curb at the exit of the first turn. Around the long turn 8, I think. No, not 8. Turn 3. Very, very long left-hander. Really got to, watch the throttle and maybe an early shift up to 5th gear or 8th gear, I should say, just to make the car a bit stable. Fast forwarding the end of the lap, we're finding more time than what we were on the last lap. We made the last sector very well. Into the last couple of corners once again. Little bit more curb than last time, but less curb at the last turn, and we go have a 32.1, still P18. So I reckon we've got time to come in and maybe throw another set of tyres at this, because I reckon we've got the car to get into Q2. What's the gap to P16? Oh wow, yeah. So a bit over a 10th, or maybe just under a 10th. So I reckon we can stitch another lap together and get ourselves into Q2. I reckon here. So let's just see what happens here. I reckon this is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to go on board for the entirety of the lap. Out of the last corner, need a good run here. What is it? No, not quite. We do lose a little bit of time. So we're 0.013 or whatever down we were, but we've gained a little bit of that through turn 1. Into turn 2 now, heavy braking zone. Really got to judge that to perfection. I reckon we've done that pretty well. We found a bit more time than our last run, because our last set of tires was a couple of laps old. Into turn 4, nice apex there. Really got to make the apex there. Don't use too much of the curb. You really got to judge these 90-degree corners in the second part of the sector for very well. So take a wide line, nice apex, use a little bit of that sausage curb, but not too much, or even miss it if you can. Just like there, nice apex taken there. So we're up by nearly 4/10 now. Probably could have used a bit more curb, probably could have used a bit more curb on the inside and outside, but regardless, we find more time. That is unreal. So we are really stitching this lap together. We could find ourselves getting into Q2, into the third sector now. Nice apex mate. Probably could have broken a little bit earlier to make this apex a little bit better. A little bit sideways coming off the corner into the third sector. Went a little bit deep and nice fast in, slow out, but it'll help us make the apex the second part of that 90-degree right hand turn. Into the last couple of turns now. Need a good run here. Took a lot of the curve because you can find a little bit of time, but not too much. And I think we are into Q2. Yes, we are. P12. That is a surprise. I don't think we had that much pace in us. Robert, 4/10 off of Nick Latifi. Although we are still miles behind the Williams, so that could explain something, or it could be setup wise, but regardless, that's a fair way. I've decided to save my one and only run at the end of the session, because that's where the most grip is. Just like last time, we're going to go on board for the last lap, and we're going to try and stay with Sebastian Vettel for this last one. Probably could have been a little bit closer, but you don't want to be too close if you're following another car around a track like Russia here. Although it is high speed and it does require a bit of engine power, you don't want to be staying too much behind. Into the second sector, it didn't feel too bad. I mean, even with the dirty air, it doesn't seem this lap really doesn't seem that bad, in all honesty. But we've taken way too much of that curve. That's going to cost us a little bit of time, and we don't have rich or max fuel mixture anymore. So we're all on our own here as we try and catch up to Sebastian Vettel. This lap, to be honest, felt a little bit scruffy. to me. Didn't really go the way like I wanted, and we've literally just lost time to Sebastian Vettel. I don't know if that's dirty air wise or if it was just us, but regardless, we're not P12, we are P15 for the Russian Grand Prix. So yeah, that lap was a little bit scruffy in my mind. I didn't really stitch it like I would have, or like I did in the Q1. So P15, I reckon we're on course for a good result here. This track is actually very low on tyre wear, so we probably could go into mediums, but we are going to be miles slower than everyone else. And when you put on mediums on such a low grip track, when a low tyre wear track, this place is very low on tyre wear. I think if you go on mediums, you can literally just do nearly the whole race if you have ultimate tyre wear upgrades. But yeah, I think mediums and maybe softs around the race, and maybe a safety car here and there, it could give us an opportunity to get some points here. So I think that could be the strategy we go to. We'll see what the others do, but for now, let's go to the grid for the Russian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Sochi and the Russian Grand Prix, one of 8 cities in the world to play host to both the Olympics and a Formula One race. It's a Grand Prix that's proven difficult to crack for anyone beyond the first 2 rows of the grid in recent years, so let's see if that can change today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, Perez, Raikkonen, Vettel and Lance Stroll. Ricciardo, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Skip, Antonio Giovinazzi and Ocon, Russell, Gasly, Robert Schwartzman and Nikita Mazepin. Fernando Alonso, they've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
And don't you let me down again, Jeff. Welcome, guys, to the grid for the Russian Grand Prix. Interesting strategy choice here. Medium to softs. Slow start, strong finish, they always say. 0.06 faster to start on softs. Okay, so that is rather interesting. Can we push the softs or the mediums as late as possible? But if we do that, then there's a chance that we probably won't score any points. So I think maybe 12 laps, the last 12 laps on the softs. But when I looked at the race director, a lot of people around us are starting on softs. So now I'm starting to question whether starting on mediums is a good strategy. But however, we will be on the softs to finish the race. So that's what I'm hoping for, and let's just see what happens here. We're just waiting for another couple of cars to come onto the grid, which they have. The Russian Grand Prix is 5 red lights away, and we are go. Pretty good start off the live. We had a really good start on mediums, but the second phase won't be quite as good, as we are going to get mobbed by an Alpine and what's that, Giovinazzi on our right hand side. On board now with the Gasly. He dive bombs everyone and a cheeky corner cuts, taking out one of the bollards there and getting himself up into P6 or whatever. However, we did not get a good run, and we back down into 13th place. We tried to follow Gasly, but we didn't go quite as good. Coming to the end of the first sector now, Daniel and Giovinazzi having a nice battle there. As long as those two can keep battling and us staying with Stroll, that'll be good for our race, because if we can stay with Stroll to the pit stops, then we can hopefully push as much as we can for the last 5 or so laps on this stint, and we can bolt on the softs and maybe have a safety car come in just to save our skins, and maybe we can score points today. So that's the plan, and I'm hoping that is the case. Ricciardo and Giovinazzi still battling out. Danny Rick should be able to get this move done on the straight. Coming into the third sector now, and we have a little bit of room. In fact, maybe a little too much speed going into the third sector. We nearly rear-end Stroll. On board now with Stroll. Not a lot of room there. That's what you call get out of jail free card. Wow, we literally missed him by a millimetre. So that's a skin saver if I've ever seen one. So with that mistake, Ricciardo didn't get past Giovinazzi, and now he or the both of them have come up behind me already. So that just shows that the mediums, the mediums will last quite a fair while before they start to die off. That's if they die off, because I feel like because the hards just won't be a good tire to race on. Doesn't matter what you think. The hards just won't be a good tire to be on. So definitely, and it's one of the lowest tire wear tracks on the calendar as well. So we should be relatively okay. Yellow flag up ahead. Oh, we've got 2 cars in front, including the championship leader, Max Verstappen. So Max has had a moment, and honestly, I reckon he's taking too much of the curb, and that's why he spun out. And now we're on board with Kimi Räikkönen. He's side by side with Stroll. He forced Stroll wide into Verstappen, and Stroll had nothing to do with it. There was nothing Stroll could do. So Kimi literally gave him no space. He's trying to brake, but there was just no way of avoiding that. And there we go. So yeah, Max just took probably a little too much of that curb, and that's the reason why he spun out, and bang. And luckily, I was just able to avoid.
Okay, watch your pace. We've been informed that the safety car is out. There appears to have been an issue with multiple stopped vehicles on the track.
Wow, and Yuki Tsunoda is out of the race as well, so he must have come at high speeds and not reacted in time. So Danny Rick now coming in for a very early pit stop. I didn't think that anyone would come in for a pit stop this early. Is he going on to mediums? Yeah, he's going on to mediums. Maybe take those to the end of the race. Of course, with this safety car, you might be able to take them to the end. And Nick Latifi is into the pit lane as well. What's he going to? Oh, he's had to change his wing, and serve a 5-second time penalty. Okay, so he's obviously been in an incident where he's had to change his wing, and that's going to cost him a fair bit of time. But the good news is he will have enough time to catch up to the back of the field because of the safety car intervention. So that's good news for him. So, and apparently under the safety car, Sebastian Vettel retired from the race because apparently with some sort of mechanical failure, which unfortunately he could take no further part in this race. So, after the safety car, we're in P11 now, as we get ready to go green flag racing once again. Nice screen freeze, that is absolutely lovely. Every time a screen freezes, I just myself, because I just don't know what's going to happen. Every time a screen freezes, that means that the PC just usually crashes. But it hasn't done that for a little while, so hopefully we're still okay to make these videos. Did not get a good race start, so those soft compound tyre runners are going to get away a little bit better than us. However, Giovinazzi on softs is still right up our ass. So we are defending for all our might, and he tried to go right around the outside, and Robert, who's up into 13th place, so not a bad performance from him so far. In fact, he's side by side with Antonio going into the second part of the lap, and they're still side by side. Robert will have the inside here, he should be able to resolve it, but Giovinazzi on softs will have a little bit more grip than Robert on the mediums, and they're still side by side. How are they still running side by side? I have no idea. Robert, you're gonna have to try and stay up the inside here if you can. But Giovinazzi, with much more grip, should finally hold on to that. And well, Robert slots back into his slipstream. Will he have a lunge down here? I don't think he will. So, gee, what an effort from Robert to try and make a move. So, fair play, Robert. You gave it all you could, but yeah, Antonio, which is a little bit too strong on those softs, and it looks like he started to just fall back a little bit here. I don't know. I didn't think he had front wing damage because I didn't see any contact in that battle. But anyway, GIOVINAZZI eventually gets past us, even with us using our overtake button all the way down the straight. It just wasn't enough to stop that Alfa Romeo, and that Alfa Romeo is still a hell of a lot faster than us, so that kind of makes sense. So lap 9 now, we're getting the soft compound tyre runners are getting towards the end of their first stint, so we should be able to hopefully push on from here and then maybe stay with Antonio. And that was the plan when Antonio got past. Just try and stay with his slipstream, try and make a little bit of pace on him. However, some of the fast running cars are going to come up behind us very soon when they pit for medium compound tyres. Speaking of who, Danny Rick, who was miles behind us, is now literally right up our ass. The other back markers that were in front of me, George Russell was included in that. They all boxed for, I don't know, what was it, another set of mediums, or were they on softs? I don't know, I can't even remember. I don't even pay attention to this, I probably should. Anyway, Danny gets up the inside, or goes right around the outside on the straight, and he flies by, and we have no chance of absolutely staying with him. So we're just going to let him go, maybe get his slipstream of the straight, which I think happened, and now we've got Bottas, who gets past us with ease. And I'm actually glad that, you know, the faster cars are passing us on the straight, so therefore that doesn't cost us too much time, and we could literally just move on with our race. Hamilton coming into the pit lane for a set of soft compound tyres because he qualified on mediums. We actually went an extra lap or two on the mediums. We were scheduled to come in on lap 16, but we went an extra lap just to, you know, have a little bit more performance out of the softs towards the end of the race. Hamilton gets up the inside, and this was the point where I'm like, yeah, let's come into the box because I don't want to lose too much time, you know, just battling with Hamilton, Checo, and Sainz, who was in that group of cars. So into the pit lane we go, a set of soft compound tyres to run to the end of the race, and apparently Robert came in at exactly the same time as me, so this is going to be a double stack here. Here he comes down. I'm keeping an eye on him. How much is he going to get held up? So he pulled into the box. Not too... Okay, so that wasn't too bad. So, well done, boys, for getting him in and out. Coming to the end of our first flying lap on the sides, it is a well over 2 second improvement, so it's a 33.2. I reckon there's a little bit more time in that. So moving forward now, just trying to catch up.
Green flag. Don't panic just yet, but we've seen a problem at our end. We're looking into it.
Oh, give me a spell, would you? So yellow flags I found. That's, looking at the minimum, that's a Williams that's going slow. I think that's George. So he's obviously got a problem, a mechanical failure of some sort. Another team radio coming.
It's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue. The issue seems to be fixed, but we will keep monitoring it our end.
Another engine issue. Well, we're about to find out if the problem has been fixed, and no, a couple of laps later, we were 2 seconds behind, but now we're 7 seconds behind, so that confirms that the issue has not been fixed. That is super duper frustrating. So with 4 laps to go, Robert was about 14 odd seconds behind me. Now he's only 10 seconds behind, so he really needs to make up, what, like 2.5 seconds a lap if he's going to be a threat to us. So with 3 laps to go, the gap is 6.6. On to the second last lap, it's now 3.9, so it could be touch and go whether he can get to us. He might get a DRS on the back straight on the last lap, but I just don't see how that's going to happen. In my point of view, as wow, we've taken a lot of curve, big moment there. We're going to lose a couple of seconds, so that could be an invitation very early on the last lap. Well, let's just see how this happens. It's now, the gap's now under 2 seconds, now 1.5 seconds, and now he is well and truly under a second as we go on to the last lap. So he might snatch this away from us. Right here at turn 2, we're just going to use our overtake button absolutely everywhere. We're going to shut the door. We're going to go to the outside, get the best run through there. However, he does get the best run. Bottas wins the Russian Grand Prix. Wanted to show him winning it, but we've got a battle on our hands. Robert is up our inside. He might snatch this. However, we are on. We did pit at exactly the same time, but thankfully the double stack didn't happen. And now Robert, he's going to go up our inside. I've chosen to go to the outside because I want to get the good run. And we shut the door. No cuts for the rest of this race. Can Robert now hold on from Nick Latifi? He is on a softer compound tyre, so you would think so. He has DRS as well. Look at how quickly he's closing up. We're going to go as deep into every corner with every inch left in this car. Verstappen has dropped to 14th place, so he doesn't score points. Is that a game changer in the championship? Is that going to swing towards the Mercedes? We enter the last couple of corners now, and I think we're just going to hold on for P15. So 15th and 16th respectively as we cross the line. Not a bad day here. Nice screen freeze to go with it. Nice.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Gee, I literally thought he was going to get us just as we were crossing the line, but I was wrong. So 15th and 16th. Okay, I guess.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So, could this be the big swing in the championship race with Verstappen not scoring points? Don't know why he got the 5-second tyre penalty, in all honesty. Maybe he did something different, because I highly doubt you would get a 5-second tyre penalty for causing a collision with Sebastian Vettel, who retired from that race maybe with too much damage, although he did hit him front on contact. Anyway, so Tsunoda, Vettel, Russell and Mazepin were the late retirees. I didn't catch Mazepin retiring, but anyway, so not too much changes up and down the field in terms of the standings. I think Stroll and GIOVINAZZI move up in the standings, but to be honest, I was expecting a lot more out of that race. You know, if we didn't have that problem, I feel like we could have been a good chance of scoring points or getting, like, you know, within a couple of seconds or so of scoring those points. And there you go, we finally lost 7th place in the team's championship. So yeah, it's frustrating to have, you know, these kinds of problems that are totally out of your control. So that's something we're going to have to work on before we get to season 2, which is going to be a pain in the ass, because we are going to have to save up some money if we want to keep Robert in the team for season 2, or whether we want someone else in the team. But I reckon for now, we keep Robert. If he keeps up his performance like he did today, and then I think he will have a good chance of staying in the team. I've got a lot of faith in him, and I see a lot of potential in Robert, considering he is the reigning F2 champion in this game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I feel like it was a good race overall. If we didn't have that problem, as I said, then yeah, we probably would have been, you know, contesting some points. And in terms of, you know, the championship fight as well between Max and the two Mercs, I think that there is something that is gonna have to be done there, because, you know, with Max having a big lead right now, I would, if I was in his shoes, I'd be, you know, just trying to stay out of trouble, if that makes any sense to you guys. So just stay out of trouble, like what we've been doing. We've been choosing our battles very wisely. Even before we got to our pit stop, we had the Mercs, the Red Bulls, the McLarens, all wanting a piece of me, and, you know, we were able to let them go on the straights, or they were able to pass us on the straights, which is what I wanted to do. So they wouldn't interrupt their race, and it wouldn't interrupt our race, if that makes sense to you guys. So, and I think that's what we managed to do quite well today. I think that really worked out well for us. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you really enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to see plenty more F1 and racing game content. there will be, as I said, there will be another Saudi Arabia video coming out soon, which was the last video. And I'm just thinking, if the track doesn't get ready in time, is it going to be cancelled, or could it be postponed at a later date? But could it be on the calendar for next year? Oh, it will be on the calendar for next year. I think it's like the second or fourth event, something like that. But anyway, guys, that's to talk about another time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.